Hello, Mr. Alatorre. This is Brittany Allen from Hutchinson Community College. Today, I welcome you and my audience to my The bell signaling the end of lunch rings, but instead of happy, satisfied students heading back to class, these children leave still hungry and not ready to continue on with their days. This is sadly reality at most schools, and today I hope to persuade you all into being willing to reverse these changes because everybody is affected by this problem in some way, whether you are a student, parent, or school official. My audience analysis reveals that those who are impacted by the school lunch program mostly desire lower prices, better quality of food, and perhaps a choice in what is served on lunch trays. I've experienced the changes firsthand as well as seen how both my peers and kids around the country are handling the situation. Today, I will clarify how changes to the lunch programs have left children hungry, parents troubled, and everybody concerned with the future of lunch programs. The balance between a healthy diet and active lifestyle in children has always been thought of as important. Children are not being filled by the amount of food that is allowed in the new guidelines, setting the generation up for a lot of unhealthiness. Some of the changes to lunches are lower amounts of proteins and fats, and now, today, the grains are mandatory 51% whole grain, according to Alicia Connor's article on lunches in a Casper school in California. These changes are extremely similar, if not identical, to the ones that I have found in my school. Kids need the protein and fat in order to get through their days. We can't survive on 75% fruits and vegetables. As you can see, the larger portion of this tray is designated for vegetables, and this is for fruits. The rest of the sections are significantly smaller. In a YouTube video titled "We Are Hungry," posted by a group of young people, students are shown going through their days at school and even sports practices very, very hungry. Lunches absolutely need to be as nutritional as possible because students don't eat enough in between their lunches and the start of their practices and/or extracurricular activities to keep their bodies nutritionally satisfied. The video shows high school age students going against school lunch policies by eating snack foods they either bring from home or buy from local grocery stores or markets, making it even harder for the students to stay healthy. Students at my school use release times to visit a small market downtown to buy junk food, and they bring food daily from home to eat in class to avoid feeling hungry later. Some people even buy food off of one another. Interviewing a student at my high school further reveals negative views on school lunches. She personally prefers to bring her own lunch because she doesn't feel like she will feel full based off of the amount of food that she is given. She says she feels the prices are too high for too little of food. I have noticed that more kids bring their lunches from home than previous years, making it seem that they agree with the students' fears about not getting full off the lunches. There is a downside for more and more students bringing their lunches from home rather than purchasing them from the cafeteria. Students bringing their own sack lunch lowers the school's profit sales, and that, in return, possibly increases the prices for everybody else that do choose to buy from the cafeteria. It is a vicious cycle that must stop, and you all have the power to stand up and reverse what is being done within school cafeterias. As their children continue to stay hungry, parents are rightfully gaining frustrations. They are easily frustrated because their children return home hungry, but their money is still being spent. Joy Pullman's article on how Michelle Obama's program affects children reveals that parental protests have occurred since 2011, when school administrations began implementing mandated cost increases. We, as a country, are experiencing economic hardships. Many of you may know that already. Many parents felt that school lunches are too expensive before the raised prices. If these raised prices were not enough, parents are angry that they are paying more for less food that their children would like even less. Reactions to the new school lunch requirement states that the fruits and vegetables students are forced to take from the lunch line ultimately end up in the garbage can. Parents feel that their money is going straight to the trash, which obviously could not be truer. My school has a new rule that each student must have a certain amount of 3 or more items, not including desserts, on their tray in order to be charged a meal price, which is $2.50 at my school. If these expectations are not met, then the student will be charged a la carte prices, which is sure to be expensive. I hear on a daily basis from people who pass by casually say how they have no intention of eating the fruit or vegetable that is offered that day. How are parents' kids supposed to feel full off of smaller portions of meat, grains, and dairy? And why is it costing them so much when their children are not going to eat it? It's your money, parents. Don't keep letting the schools charge you for food that is destined to be for the trash can. Furthermore, parents are worried that their kids are starving and that it is possibly affecting their learning. A statistical document shows that 68% of all adults are overweight or obese. This comes from a non-healthy diet and keeping up with an active lifestyle. Parents see how serious this issue is, and they obviously don't wish for their children to grow unhealthy and live the rest of their lives with the consequences of obesity. Thinking of all the hard feelings new lunch programs are causing is obviously not going to lead to positive thinking for the future. Many people are wondering where their opinions matter. They feel like they do not have a choice in what the schools are feeding their children. And yet they desperately still want to help these kids who are constantly feeling hungry. Us consumers want a say as both students and parents, but we must demand it. Going back to the Pullman article, it is stating that Congress should take the opinions of those who make the food, as well as those who pay for it and eat it, into consideration. If this happened, we would obviously waste less food and less people would bring food from home. Also, going back to the YouTube video, it is a prime example of students crying out for their voices to be heard. It was made in order to get the attention of those who are responsible for these changes. They wish to show how upset both parents and students are with all the recent changes to the school lunch programs. For some schools, listening to the kids may not be seen as an option, but they are simply just trying to stay happy and healthy. Thinking about how you would feel if you were hungry for a well-cooked meal, but received food that reversed your efforts to maintain a healthy diet. Or, even worse, imagine that you were given a tray of food that tasted bland. You paid at least $2.50 for it, and this is all the food that you will get until after your volleyball practice, so throwing it away is just not an option. To make up for the unappealing taste, you add a ton of salt or calorie-packed condiments. This is what a lot of students end up doing, especially myself. Furthermore, the reactions article mentioned earlier also states that the regulation changes there were only minimum calorie limits, whereas of now, the maximum amount of calories is set. Personally, I believe this is very wrong. Who has the power to tell us that we should eat, or how much we should eat? We are all different shapes, sizes, heights, weight, and we all have different levels of activity. It is not the school's job to fix America's growing problem of obesity. We simply need to take the initiative to be healthy ourselves, because nobody knows our bodies better than we do. All three of these points are reasons that you should consider taking action on this issue. Now that you have more information on how school lunches keep children from feeling full, parents frustrated, and making people wonder why their voices are not being heard when it comes to their concerns, you are able to stand on what you believe, and there are many ways to do this. District meetings in your child's school's PTA or parent-teacher administrations are perfect opportunities to let schools know further about your concerns. If you are unable to attend those, you can even communicate with letters and emails if you wish. People, if we demand change as a group, we will get results instead of just wishes. However, the only way the kids will receive the proper nutrition is if we prove strength is truly in numbers. Do it not only for yourself or your children, but for the future generations as well. Thank you so much for listening today. I really appreciate it.
Good job, Brett.